Good evening and welcome to Studio 8 for the pre-race show, week number 8 of Millertime Sunday. I am Ryan Griffith. I have got Byron Gay and I've got Chris Miller alongside on Millertime Sunday. How are we doing, guys?
Oh, great. After last week's race, tight racing, I'm excited to see what I-55 will bring for us tonight.
Imagine, I should just never do this. So, imagine we're 1 week away from Easter. We're 3 weeks, just 3 races, I guess I shouldn't say weeks, away from the end of the season. We got a tight points battle. It's going to be fun, interesting. First time we've ever been to I-55 tonight, so looking forward to that. It's a great Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. We do want to talk about I-55 here in a little bit because it is our first time ever being there. And, well, because iRacing just released that great track, I-55. So let's talk about last week whenever we seen a pretty good race. There was quite a few wrecks, more than what we kind of anticipated coming into Eldora Speedway. What did you guys take away from that race?
Yeah, it was definitely interesting to watch because, we saw multiple lines developing, and then it all really graduated to the top. And then eventually we did see guys start going back down to the bottom. Bottom was working a little bit better than the tops at some points. But we did see Ross Kaiser end up knocking down the wall up there and getting his first win. So a little bit of doubt from my end on him. But you know what? It's good to see him prove some people wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you mentioned Byron Kaiser getting his first 305 Outlaw victory. Probably took a little bit longer than he had anticipated and had hoped, but I thought that was interesting. That was our second straight week that we had a first-time winner in the 305 Outlaws, and what was really interesting to me was this was the defending series champion Sean Stevens' first top 5.
Yeah, so I like that. I like how you spun off that, and you talked about that was kind of a shock for you, that he did get inside the top 5. My shock coming out of that race was turn number 1 when green flag waves, and we see Tyler Street make a big mistake to Warren Samoy that was starting on the front row. Unfortunate for him, but that mistake early in where he just came off of a win, probably eager to get to the front and just made a mistake there. Byron, what was something that you seen in that race that may have been a shocker to you?
To me, would have been, guys like Zach Dykstra and Troy Falero who having to battle through the B main and just not having the best of luck there at Eldora, not even being able to pass many cars to slowly fight back up to the top. And I don't think either one of them managed the top 10. I could be wrong, though.
Yeah.
I think Dykstra may have snuck into the top 10 barely, but definitely a rough race for some of our faster guys getting, taken out there early in heat races or what it may be, or just not making it off that transfer.
Yeah, so you talk about it was hard to pass there at Eldora, and I've talked to several drivers around the league for this race here at I-55, and I think they're going to see the same kind of thing. If you get put back in traffic, you may find yourself struggling to get through this race. But before we do talk more about I-55, let's switch it over to your points, where your points are standing right now. Randy Shreves now increases his lead by a little bit more. He's up 17 points on Jason Randolph. Man, that's just so close, that battle there between just the top 5 or top 6, or you can even say the top 10. This thing can easily change around very quickly depending on qualifying. You get those bonus points there in qualifying, can change everything. So Jason Randolph, season 4 champion, sits in that number 2 spot. I imagine he would love to get this championship as we're starting to close out this season. Zach Dykstra there in the number 3 spot, so he's right there. He could have a really big night tonight, and you could see him on top of this board. You got Tyler Street there in the 4th spot after having a rough week at Eldora. We talked about that just a minute ago. He's 51 points out, tied with Brandon Voiles there in the number 5 spot. There you have Sean Stevens. We said it there. He's first top 5 of the season, and he's sitting in 6th because of qualifying. It's because of that he is sitting there in that 6th spot. 7th is Ben Hort. 8th is PJ Popham, kind of a sleeper here. He's coming alive here. So PJ Popham, maybe a guy to keep an eye on. Brandon Sturt there in the 9 spot. In the 10 spot, you got Jeff Falero. That's your top 10 there. do you guys think coming in here at I-55, will we see a shakeup in the top 5 in point standings? Because right there, you see it. There was no movement last week. Will we see movement this week?
I definitely think it's possible. I mean, it all depends where these guys are going to end up with their qualifying, how it shakes out in heat races. I think if anybody's got a good chance right now, probably my driver to watch tonight will be Jason Randolph. I think, he's definitely in his own driver's seat after coming off of not racing last season with us. He's sitting right there second in points. I mean, 17 points back is not a far gap, and especially with the way that we do our point system now, where qualifying is weighing so heavily now. So I think Randolph could definitely come out being in the points lead tonight for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Randolph there. Last week I looked at it. I think it looked like on paper that he probably had an opportunity to catch Shreves in the points. And when you go back to it, it was a difference in qualifying. I mean, Randolph probably actually ran a better race last week. Going to I-55, I agree. I think Randolph's probably one of the top guys to watch. I don't think a whole lot's going to change between 1 and 2 tonight, but I think that there are some movement that's probably going to happen even 4 through maybe even 11 or 12. I mean, you look at Brandon Stewart last week, he moves up 4 spots into the 9th position. So he's still only 84 points back. So I think, he's a good driver on the small tracks a lot of times. Lima Land he's always been good at. We don't have any history here at I-55. I think he could probably be a contender.
Okay. All right, so there was your standings and how it looks like. So we'll see if that changes throughout this race here at I-55. Switching it over to the power rankings. Power rankings was released today. A couple days ago, I should say. So after week number 7, you got Randy Shreves that's back on top in the power rankings. We've seen him there in week 1. We have not seen him back in that top spot until now. Jason Randolph is in that 2nd position. Zach Dykstra's in the 3rd position after Troy Flaro's bad performance there at Eldora Speedway. He drops into the 4th position. Number 5 spot belongs to Brandon Voiles. And looky there, in the number 6 spot, we have Sean Stevens back inside the top 10 in power rankings. We have not seen him there for several weeks inside the top 10. Ross Kaiser moves into the 7th spot. 8th spot is Jeff Flero. We've seen him inside the power rankings all season long, and here he is still in that 8th spot. Tyler Street drops big time after a big mistake there in turns number 1. He drops all the way into the 9th spot, and then the final spot in that number 10 spot, you see Brandon Stewart. We've seen him in the power rankings too also, but he climbs back inside after a good performance there at Eldora Speedway. So moving on forward here, we got a couple more things we want to cover before we move on to the Kings of Millertime. Of course, Get Upside. We want to make sure that we put this on the screen for all of our race fans and all of our fans out there that can be an opportunity to make some money back. And it's a free app. Get Upside. Save up to 25 cents off per gallon. And you can add an extra 15 cents off per gallon when you use that referral code Ryan25753. And what I've been noticing that if you go and you sign up, that first fill up, you could save as much as 60, 70, and 80 cents off per gallon. And with the gas prices the way they are, it's definitely worth it. And you can use that money to, you could go over and buy yourself a real nice official Kings of Millertime t-shirt for $29.99. Go get those over on dirtitv.com. Click the shop button, multiple items in there. You can get Dirt ITV hoodies, t-shirts, logo shirts, and then the official Kings of Millertime t-shirt. I've got mine on right now. Byron, I imagine Byron's got his on.
Absolutely.
He's got his purple one on, and Chris has got its Millertime Sunday one on. He also got the Kings of Millertime one sent in, so we're all wearing the apparel, the official apparel of Millertime Motorsports. Get over there and buy that for $29.99. All right, guys, let's talk about Kings of Millertime. It's coming around very, very quickly. Seems like we click off these weeks very, very quickly, and it'll be on our heels in just a few moments. So you need to get over, you need to register if you have not done that already. The prizes out there are great. I mean, we looky here at some of the prizes. $1,200, and I think we got that $200 sponsor came in, so that prize pool's up to, I believe, $1,400 now. This is based on a 4-car field. Entry fee for the Outlaw drivers, $20. Public's opened up for $30. Minimum requirement is a 2,500 iRating. Chris, how many people do we currently have signed up for this after last week?
So nothing, spectacular came in. Didn't expect it the first week. We're still 6 weeks away or 5 weeks away now. But we did have 3 Outlaw drivers sign up last week that are paid and ready to go. I believe they're registered on the website. And we do have 1 All-Star driver that has paid to get in. We've got a total of 4 right now. We've got a long way to go. We have been throwing those posts out there on the other iRacing sites, on Facebook and stuff, trying to recruit some drivers. But like you said, those payouts were based off 40 drivers, and they do not include that $200 extra in there that we have so far. So it's going to grow each week, and it's going to be a good pot by the time we're there. So get your registration done. Remember, the pill draw will open up on May the 2nd. So after we complete our final race at Williams Grove, the season finale, on May the 2nd, we will get the pill draw open. The All-Stars will just then, or the public will just then be able to actually register. They can pay now, but they can't register till then. So on May the 2nd, if you are registered and paid, you will get first dibs on the pills.
Fantastic. Guys, get signed up. Man, you don't want to miss out on this event. The first 2 was incredible racing. I imagine the same will be said for this one. And man, there's more money on the table now. And it seems like every season or every running of the Kings of Millertime, the money just continues to grow bigger and bigger and bigger, thanks to some of our sponsors and your guys' entry fees into the race. All that money is getting paid back in to the drivers, and we can't thank you guys enough. So get over there and sign up. So let's talk about the spin wheel, what we did last week, what we eliminated. After we get done with the spin wheel, we'll talk about I-55, and we've got 1 driver we want to interview, and then we'll move on to tonight's pick. So let's get over to the spin wheel. How about it?
Well, after last week on this spin wheel, and then last week's race, we have so many Eldora on there. I think I would have changed my Eldora to Lanier or something. That was a great race. But no, I'm not really going to do that. But I wish I could go pick and change.
Absolutely. All right. So last week we seen 3 tracks get eliminated. We are now down to 13 tracks on the board. What's left? Eldora Speedway. We've got 3 of them. We've got 3 Charlottes. We've got 2 Knoxville. We've got 2 Lanier. We've got 1 I-55, which we go to tonight. 1 Fairbury. And 1 Weed Sport. It's time to eliminate 3 tracks today. Let's do it. Let's spin that wheel. We're gonna take Knoxville off here. That was Josh Berkey's pick there. So Knoxville has been eliminated. So now we're down to 2 Knoxvilles. Or no, 1 Knoxville, I should say now. So, wow. All right. 2 more to drop out. Who's it going to be? Here we go. Oh, man, that was close. Fairbury just barely is now gone. That was Chris Sainz's pick. It is no longer on the board. We are not going to Fairbury. 1 final spin.
I wondered why you got antsy
Here
there.
we go.
It was yours almost eliminated.
Oh, it was so close. Final spin of the wheel. Oh, no. Lanier Speedway has been eliminated. 1 Lanier still remains on the board, so we could still go Lanier. But that takes us down to 10 tracks. Still have those 3 Eldoras and 3 Charlottes. 1 Knoxville, 1 Lanier. I-55 and Weed Sport. That's your 10 tracks remaining. We'll eliminate 3 more tracks next week. That was cool. That was cool. There's a very, very high chance that we could be going to Eldora Speedway or Charlotte Speedway. I mean, there's 6 of them out there for those. So, what do you think, guys? What do you think?
Well, knowing that some of these shorter tracks are out there that have been now eliminated, it makes you kind of wonder, do these guys really want these short tracks? And I mean, I know we kind of want some of these short tracks, like you want Lanier, and obviously wanted Fairbury in there. We got an I-55 still.
Yeah.
So I mean, some of us want these small tracks, but I think mainly we probably want to see this racing on that big side track. So I think a Charlotte or an Eldora might be better for it. But
Okay.
look at the draw.
I was hoping that 1 or 2 between Eldora and Charlotte would go today, so neither one of them did. But let's hope that maybe if Byron's Eldora wins, it is a new track also. I believe it was one of the Eldoras still left on there. So
Yes.
Hopefully maybe the new track will get released like the week before. And then if Byron's wins, at least it's not Eldora, it's maybe. And then I got I-55 in that same situation, but hey, at least it's still a small track.
Man, I don't know. I don't see that new track coming out. But, and another thing kind of worries me after we seen last week at Eldora Speedway. Oh, geez, we're going to go Kings of Millertime there. I don't know, but man, it brings out the best in the guys, and you never know what Eldora holds. It may not be a 30 lapper, it may be a 50 lapper. Who knows what happens there? All right,
probably not 99% humidity neither.
Yeah, true, very true, Chris. So I-55, we went there with the All Stars. Last night we wasn't able to broadcast that because we was having some issues with SDK Gaming with the server. We are good to go for tonight's broadcast. They've got that all squared away. But the All-Star Series, what'd you guys see there last night? And it was kind of fun. I got back into the All-Stars, got back into the 305, got to race with these boys. What'd you guys think?
I mean, you took it from me. I was going to say there was this really fast 8 car out there with Griffith on the wing. Like, I didn't know who this guy was coming in. He just comes out there, goes second quick in qualifying, wins his heat race, and, is able to, what was it? I got it pulled up. 10 laps to go, takes the lead, and wins the race.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the real question, Ryan, is how did you enjoy that race? How did you think about the track?
Well, when I first got started on it, I did not think that it was going to slick off as quick as it did, and it did. Which opened up the door for me to make that pass with 10 to go, because it was pretty much, I could get to the back bumper of that leader, but it was really hard to make any kind of moves. The track was pretty much one line. Once it started opening up, some guys started making mistakes in front of me, and I was able to take that lead. When you talk about the Outlaw guys, mistakes don't happen very often. And so I think it's going to be interesting to see how far this track really slicks off, because it should get a lot more slick than what we seen last night. And I think it's a matter of who can control their car the longest in this race and find the moisture. And I think they're gonna win this race. But yeah, I had a ball last night. It was a blast.
I was gonna say we had 9 cars last night, and I think we were slick top to bottom. 15 laps into the feature?
Yeah, and there was a few areas where there was some tacky that was left into the track. Not all the way to the wall. There, of course, all the way to the wall was still there, but mid-track there were some tacky areas there that you could bite off of. There was a diamond off move that you could get some runs on some guys. There was areas to move out there on the racetrack, so it was a lot of fun. But I did find it fairly hard to pass some of these guys that normally would not be much of a competition for me. They put on their best show last night.
Yeah. Speaking with I-55, because I do want to bring up some lap times here, because I'm not sure if the Outlaw drivers knew what kind of lap times we were turning last night. We saw our practice times get down to the 11.1s. Our fastest qualifying lap was an 11.071.
Yeah.
So real close to breaking that into the 10.9s. But I mean, we were still far off. Track wasn't. I would say it was in the coolest it could have been for us. And then towards the feature, we had average lap times of 11.8 to about 12 seconds.
Yeah.
So there's about 0.2 give there. I'm expecting some of these guys to probably be in that 11-8 time frame, like you were last night. And I think we'll probably see some of the guys towards the back of the field around the 12 seconds flat, maybe 11-9. So it'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see. I think if we can see multiple lines develop late, we stay green,
Yeah.
we might have some traffic.
Yeah, I was a little thrown last night, though, whenever Chris told me, he said, hey, just come in and race. I got something here. I was like, okay, I'll come in and race. I wasn't expecting what I expected whenever I came in, and Chris say, hey, if someone beats you, they're automatically got a bid into the Outlaw series. Listen, I raced no officials at I-55 because when I-55 came out, I hosted a race. I ran in it. There was only one car running at the end out of 24 cars in a feature. It was a wreck fest. I absolutely hated it. And so I only had maybe 30 laps on the track. And here Chris says, if someone beats you, they get a bid into the Outlaws. Thanks for the pressure, Chris.
Hey, I wanted to throw that out there. I was actually waiting my minute to talk there about that, but I wanted to throw that out there. I think, the drivers we had in there last night, a lot of them are, or a couple of them anyway, are deserving of possibly being in the Outlaws. Wanted to throw them out there. I knew you hadn't ran it a whole lot. Didn't know how much practice they had put in, and, it was a nice little incentive for them, but you were able to get around them with 10 to go and pull it off. And you guys talked a lot about the feature, but one thing I think is going to play into tonight is I'm not so sure what the pill draw is going to do. I noticed last night, during qualifying, or even when I was running on the qualifying setup, it took a couple laps for that track to get worked in. I think maybe some of these guys that qualify in the middle are better, but I don't know about that. But what I do know is the heat races were very one-lined last night. They were tough to get around, so I think the invert is going to play a little bit of part. But it's not like you want to give up the invert neither and qualify later because the points mean so much. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting tonight because I think it's going to be tough for that top qualifier, or not necessarily the top qualifier, but the guy that should be starting first in the heat without the invert. Maybe to not get back up there, and they could find themselves possibly in the B main or even start middle of the feature.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to see what this race has to hold. The last time we went to a short track race, Linear Speedway, we only seen one caution. It was great racing. I hope we see the same repeat here at I-55, no short track. I know it's new, and sometimes on a new track, well, it don't normally fare too well. So we'll see. I do want to get on to talking to Troy Flero. He's who I have scheduled onto the show today. We only scheduled one with so many things that we was talking points for today. So let's move Troy on down in here and see if we can get Troy. Troy, do you got a copy?
On there, Ryan.
Troy, we brought you onto the show. We was planning on doing it last week, but you were kind of a big, heavy favor coming into last week at Eldora Speedway. A lot of us thought that you have a chance to win there, and we was like, well, we'll probably bring Troy on next week. He'll probably end up winning, so we'll bring the winner on. It didn't happen. Take us through the Eldora race for you and the struggles that you had.
Qualifying didn't go very well. It was at the back. And then heat, I think I started 5th in the heat and had a little tangle up with somebody. Threw me to the back of the feature, and then it was just really hard to work through the pack after that. It's not very easy to work back through a full pack of cars, and I kind of envy the people that were at the front last week.
Yeah. So how crucial is it tonight? I've talked to a lot of drivers. A lot of them say if you're back here in the back, it's going to be really tough to pass. How crucial is tonight's qualifying, and does that number one spot even matter that much? Are you going to be able to pass in the heat races to get yourself set up good in the feature? What do you think tonight?
I really think it comes down to the track state. If the track state is war enough, I think there's going to be a little more movement. If the track is still fairly fresh, I think the way the race starts is the way the race is going to end, unless somebody hits that wall, especially 1 and 2. Other than that, I mean, it just really depends on how many mistakes people are able to make and how many people stay clean.
And so how many laps have you put in this week? How prepared are you coming into I-55?
I didn't practice until I think today. I put maybe about 1,000 laps in. I think I'm on 130 right now with Larry. So, and I ran a few on Stephen Vogelsong's track with you guys earlier. So yeah, I have a good bit of knowledge about the track now, and I didn't at first. So I'm glad I did practice.
Yeah, and just to mention Stephen Vogelsong, I want to put a shout out there to Stephen. Thank you for putting that up. I mean, it was like I think like an 8-hour session whenever I last seen it. It could have been longer than that. I don't know. But how cool is that? And then you could go in there and that track was war, like 300% war. Like it was bad. And so appreciate you putting that out for all the drivers to get in there. Byron, what do you got for Troy?
Troy, any real reason you didn't practice a lot this week till today?
No, not really. I mean, I know what Byron wants me to say, but yeah, I got nothing. No reason.
Oh yeah, that's it. So we talk about this mindset of racing and what does it take for you to keep in this mindset of wanting to race, wanting to push for this these race wins, like attempting to get that first one here in the regular season, not just the Kings of Millertime?
I'm thinking. I'm not actually sure how to answer that question. Well, right now, anyways, these setups are really something to get used to. It feels like a completely different car. Some tracks for the better, some tracks for the worse, and I'm really a big fan of any track that brings you to the top because I find these setups that we have are really good at any track up top. The bottoms where I'm very comfortable with just don't have that same speed that I'm used to, or they're not as easy to drive, or there's always somebody on top of you because you're very side by side the entire time because the setup is so, I guess you can call it easy to drive, but at the end of the day, I'm just gonna ride it out and see if lines come to me earlier than other people might see them and work my way through that way.
Now, obviously, we've talked before when you've been racing, you're a little bit panicky when, let's say, you're on the bottom, like at Lanier. You're like, when can I get up? When can I get up? I need to know if I'm clear, if all this, and you start panicking yourself. Is that something that you want to start to eliminate your mindset of and just think, I'll let the race come to me. Let me just run this line as long as I can. As long as I'm running with the guys up top, I should be fine, right?
That's no, that mentality is going to stay with me for a long time. The last thing I want to do is wreck somebody. I care more about other people than myself. If I get taken out, I mean, it's not the end of the world. I don't really, I'm not first in points this season. There's nothing out there. I just don't want people to know me as a bad driver. And being stuck at the bottom, I mean, I'm kind of either holding people up that are trying to make moves on top of me, or and I didn't want to be there in the first place. I didn't want to be stuck to the bottom. I really thought after a long practice sessions at Lanier that the top was going to be the way to go, and I just wanted to move up. I don't know. That week was just kind of I guess I do panic. I just don't want to wreck anybody's night or be the reason for ruining the point standings.
All right.
So Troy, I gotta ask you. So you missed the very first week because you weren't going to be part of the Outlaws. We had an opening. We asked you to come back. Timing was right. You joined us, and due to that, I mean, you're obviously not running for a points championship. But right now, you have 1,030 points. If you divide that by the 6 races you've ran, it's 171 points a week. Okay, you add that to your 1,030. That puts you at 1,201, tied with Sean Stevens and the points championship, who currently sits 6th. So I want, you and I have talked, and I've also talked to Sean Stevens a lot about the setups we are running this season. So I want to know what your opinion is of the setups and what would you do differently?
I'll just come out and say it. I think they're way too easy to drive. Sometimes it drives like a dump truck, which is even too much of a challenge to, get it to turn corners because it's so stiff. I just feel like people that I feel like you could give this setup to 1,000 iRating guy and he's going to keep up with you longer than he should. It just takes a lot of the skill away from the wheel. Again, that could be a good or bad thing to make, races really close and really fun to watch. But in a driver's perspective, if you're starting at the back of a field, working your way through with people that can make very little mistakes, overturning, overcorrecting, it's just almost impossible. It just does not happen until you get a very slick track state, which hopefully tonight is going to come a lot sooner than later because you're going to see probably in the first 3-4 heats, probably all the heats, you're going to see side-by-side racing. Nobody's able to pass or not many mistakes. Yeah.
So I do agree with your opinion, on the setups a little bit. Obviously, I'm not a very good driver, and it helps me out, So I do kind of like the setups, but
Yeah.
one thing I do say about that, so last season we had the iRacing setups, the default setups that they gave us, and when we created this fixed 305 league, obviously. We wanted it to be close racing. It's a 305 sprint. If we wanted it to be, open setups and basically, excuse my French, balls to the wall, I mean, we would run the 410s. But, I think with this setup, it does make everybody tighter and it makes everybody a little bit more equal.
Yep.
But what I don't understand when everybody complains about that is the incidents per lap that we've seen this season. Okay, we've got two drivers that have not qualified for the or to be under the .2250, our league requirement for the Outlaws for season 7. Now that doesn't get you in just based off incident points, but you would think that tight racing that we've done would create that to go up a little bit, and I've seen the opposite. So I don't know. I know it for the really good drivers, I know you and I have talked a lot. The setups probably are a little bit disadvantaged to you guys. But I think it's made
Not
for
all the
some really good
time.
racing.
They are. Yeah, that's something I will say is that it's really fun to race side by side and slider after slider and catching yourself but there's something really fun to me about working through a field, or if I make a mistake and falling a little bit further back, knowing that I can come back because my skill's going to accentuate, or it's going to show in the field. And yeah, we have stripped a lot of the other drivers out that may have been or may have not been the cause of a lot of these cautions in the past, or the reason for a lot of 2-4Xs that you get during your races. And I really do think with the same field, if you gave us all the default setups back, just for instance, I'm not saying we should go back to default setups, but I still think we'd be around the same safety rating we are now. I don't think we'd be as dirty as you might think we would be. I think a lot of these drivers race clean because they can race clean, not because the car is very smooth and they're not making as many mistakes on the slick. You got to remember, driving on the slick shouldn't be easy. It should be a challenge, and that's where the good drivers should come out. A lot of people even say, hey, can we run this whole 5-minute warm-up to really burn in the track, because this is the only way we can actually split ourselves apart from the rest of the pack, is when it is slick. When it is dry, it is just not good for the above average driver, if I can say that.
Yeah, and this is the first season that we've spent, where we've carried over all night long too. And one reason why we did that was because we knew this setup was more stable, and we wanted to slick it off as much as we could. So
Yeah.
it's nice to hear your opinion. I've heard it kind of before, but it's definitely something to keep in mind for seasons going forward.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I love these setups. I love setups in general, but some setups might be better than others on some tracks. Like, for instance, the race setup on I-55 is miraculous. It's probably one of the best that I've seen all year long, and so I just think the setups might need to be tweaked just a little bit more, just a little bit.
All right. That's all the time we got with Troy. Thanks, Troy, and good luck. Good luck going after an actual points win tonight, because I don't think you've actually got one of those yet. You've won the Kings of Millertime, where there was money involved, but you still have not won a points race in the 305s. Good luck to you tonight.
Thanks for reminding me. Appreciate it, boys.
All right. So that was Troy Flero, and that was some interesting information coming across there with the setups and stuff. And there's some things that I could agree with there with Troy, and I think with the incidents going down this season, I think that is a testament of what we did this off season with the selection show and making sure that we have the right guys in this series, because we eliminated a lot of the issues that came out of season 5. And so that's another reason why it's cleaner. And yes, the setups make you able to race more side-by-side racing there. So, all right. So, guys, let's get into what should we get into? Nobody knows.
No, I would like, if you could show the team standings, would like to talk about that for just a second.
I don't have those in here, but you can tell us about them.
Well, that's fine. I probably don't need them up to show you. So the thing is right now, it's very tight. Total Racing is in the lead with 1199.
Okay.
LGR is in second with 1186. Northeast Outlaws are in third with 1158. So not a whole lot separates. I mean, it's 41 points between those top three. Millertime Motorsports is in fourth with 1109. 3D Racing in fifth with 1061. And Momentum Sim Sport hasn't been able to collect points the last couple of weeks with Clayton Tilley being gone. They sit at 904. One thing I wanted to mention here, though, is there is a new team member for Northeast Outlaws. So
Right.
I wanted to bring that up. They reached out to me early on in the week. So PJ Popham, congrats to him. He is now part of Northeast Outlaws.
Fantastic. Any word on Clayton Tilley when he's going to return? Is he moving to the? Is he moving to the United States?
Maybe so. I don't know what's going on. So, I mean, I did reach out to him last week. I did not reach out to him this week. He did tell me originally, a couple weeks there. So, we'll see. But he's not registered, doesn't have a pill. I don't expect him tonight.
All right. Well, it's time. It's time to get over to Let's Pick 'em. Here we go.
Hopefully Byron took Clayton Tilley, hoping that he was going to be here tonight first, so we have a chance to catch back up.
That would be nice. We'll talk about points, but it's Who You Picking by Luke's Bar and Grill. Right there's the standings. Byron has 14 points, did not get any points last week. Chris with 9 points, did not get any points last week. And oh yeah, I'm up to 7 points and I am coming alive. I got myself 4 points last week and I'm looking to continue that tonight here at I-55. Luke's Bar and Grill, the big sponsor of Who We All Picking and the big sponsor of the Kings of Millertime. Luke's Bar and Grill. Need to check them out. All right, let's get it started here. Chris, you've got us with that number 3 pick.
Guys, this was probably the toughest pick I've ever had to make as far as I-55. Here we are, no history. We're in season 6 with the 305 Outlaws, the best field we've ever had.
Yeah.
This was tough.
Yeah.
But my third pick, I'm going with Steve Vogelsong. He's sitting there with the 5th pill draw. I think it's going to be critical for a good pill draw tonight. His history at Limaland and Lanier, and I feel like I-55, maybe I'm completely off, I don't know, but I feel like it's kind of a mixture of the two. And then if you go back to the officials, back in week 2 of this season, when they first gave us I-55, Steve did have 8 starts in the officials. He had 1 win and an average finish of 3rd. So, and had 8 top 5s in those. So I think he's going to be good. He's actually been running pretty good, been one of the hottest drivers in the league here as of late. So I think he's going to come home with that 3rd place.
I like the pick, Chris, and it was interesting to me because normally I go in and I change these buttons around and I clicked it to put Steven Vogelsong in there, and I noticed he has not been picked this season yet. So I had to make his little graphic there for you guys to see. Steven Vogelsong getting his first pick inside the top 3. I love the pick. Byron, what do you got as number 3?
Should I ruin it? I got Clayton Tilley. Wait, that's the wrong button. No, this driver, talked to him recently. Been talking to him all week. He's put some laps in, trying to figure out where that line's going to be. I think he's done enough work to get it done. It's only right that he drives the number 3 car. He's got the number 3 pill, and I got him number 3 on here tonight. Got Troy Flair.
Wow.
I don't think he's going to get up there as far as he wants. I think he might get that good qualifying tonight. May not get that invert he needs. Will be up there at the front, but I don't think with that track state the way it's going to be early on, he's going to be able to pass. So I think he'll slot right into there in 3rd place.
It's a good pick. Good pick for putting Troy there. I got to remind you, though, I don't know. I have a feeling that tonight we're going to see the same thing at Eldora Speedway with Troy Flero.
That's why he's only 3rd. It's only a point.
He's not even going to get into top 5 tonight. All right. My number 3 pick here, guys. Who do I got to gain on you guys in points?
I'm gonna put the 56 of Randy Shreves in here.
56 of Randy Shreves.
Well, I think you're going to take the guy that got you the most points last week. I'm going to take Ross Kaiser. You're giving him the benefit of the doubt here in the top 3 again. He's going to get you at least a point.
Number 3 pick for me here is going to go to PJ Popham. Putting PJ Popham here. PJ Popham's been under the radar, and I think that radar is going to detect him here at I-55. And he's going to get himself a podium finish tonight. Seen him running a little bit today. I was sneaking in and out of servers and stuff, and may have seen PJ Popham running a little bit when it was slick and was a little bit impressed. So I got PJ Popham there in my number 3 spot. Chris, number 2.
My number 2, another great short track racer. One thing that's a little concerning for me is he did run in 5 officials at I-55. He had 0 wins with an average finish of 5th. So it does have me a little concerned here taking him in 2nd. But he currently sits 1st in the point standings. He's got that win at Volusia. He's got the 12th pill draw. I said middle of the pack earlier is going to be the ones that benefit in this qualifying. I think Randy Shreves is going to come home 2nd tonight.
Good pick. Good pick. My opinion is here, I'm a little bit concerned for anybody that is up front qualifying this and maybe gets that top spot, 2nd or 3rd position, as then you're going to be in a bad invert here in the heat. You're going to be starting not on that front 2 rows of the feature. And Randy Shreves has been very, very good in qualifying. It don't matter where he's been at. He's been there and got the bonus, and that's where he's been. And I think tonight getting those bonus points is going to help him for sure. But I think that's going to hurt him when it comes to the feature. And I'm very interested, Chris. 2 LGR Motorsports there. Wow. All right.
They had a rough week last week, so maybe this.
I like it. I wonder if he's going all LGR. All right, Byron, number 2.
I gotta respect the Randy Shreves pick there. But, we talk about qualifying. Obviously, we run these hop laps beforehand, so the track does wear in a little bit. It depends on how many laps we're giving the drivers tonight. 4 groups, give them 5 laps. I think the bottom's gonna be gone a little bit more than it was last night for the first heat race. We might see a little bit more action. But for my pick, I mentioned it earlier. He's my man to watch tonight. Sean Stevens nailed it on the head. I do have Jason Randolph up here. I got him in the 2nd spot. He does qualify 4th, and I didn't even look at these qualifying spots before I took these drivers. So I got 3rd, 4th. I might have Steven there because he's 5th. But I think Jason's got a good chance tonight, make some good points up on Randy. So hopefully, with that 4th pill draw, he can get a good spot in qualifying here. Get out there, maybe hit a, top qual and just get those extra bonus points tonight.
Okay, so I like that pick. I like the Jason Randolph pick here, and why I like him is kind of the complete opposite of what I said with Randy Shreves. Jason Randolph has not been the best in qualifying. His best has came in the race, and now we're sitting up at a track where if you land the number 1 spot, it could be hard to pass in a heat race. He's normally around the averages 9th, 10th place in qualifying, which would kind of get you right there on the bubble of the invert. I think he could be starting right up there on the front row of a heat race. I think he'll run away with that, and I think he'll be starting up front in this A main. I like that pick. I like Jason Randolph there in the number 2 spot. All right, number 2. Who do I have?
We'll go ahead and say what Chris said for your last one. You got Ross Kaiser here because he got you those points. I mean, he's deep in the field on qualifying. Well, like you said, it's going to be hard to pass here. So I think Ross is going to set himself up for a good night of success again.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you what. I can't really decide between 2 drivers here because I think you're going to go out on a limb. You're looking for more points. But not that these guys are out on a limb. It's just guys we don't pick a whole lot anymore. But I'm stuck between, and I don't think you're taking either one of these guys to win. Either Brandon Surratt or Kyle Vaughn. And I think that you're going to say that they're both good short track races. They're good line to land stuff, so I think 1 and 2.
This is good. This is good. Close, Chris. Very close. Number 2 pick is going to be Zach Dykstra. Out of everybody in the Hoda Racing, I think he has the best shot, and I think Brandon Surt's really close. I raced a little bit with Brandon Surt today at a track, and he was good. He was good, and I think Zach Dykstra is going to be just as good. I'm going to put Zach Dykstra in the number 2 spot here, and I think he's going to pick me up some points. He started my streak. He finished 3rd for me. He said, hey, I was in the lead. I had to drop back into 3rd. He didn't really drop back. He just got passed. He got beat. But he didn't want to admit it. But he got me points. And that started my streak. And so he's going to continue that. He's going to get my number 2 spot there. Chris, number 1.
All right, so I really like Byron's 2nd pick there, but I think he's better than that. Okay, I think, you look at it on paper, like I mentioned earlier, I would have thought he would have caught Randy Shreves in points last week, but he fell back. This week, I mean, he's coming into this season. We asked him in the very first week, what's your expectations? And I think he's probably fulfilled his expectations. I think he's ran well. He was hoping to get that victory. I think he's going to get the victory tonight. I'm going with Jason Randolph. He's got your 4th pill draw. He had 1 start in the officials. He won that race. It wasn't with the biggest strength of field, but I think he's going to want this one, and he's going to get it, and I think it's going to really make the point standings interesting.
Okay, I already said what I need to do on Jason Randolph. I said it was a good pick because of how he does in qualifying and the heat race and all that stuff, so I think that's a really good pick for Chris, and Chris may close in on Byron Gay here in the points, depending on what Byron has here as his number 1 spot.
Yeah, I mean, kind of shocked that, through our first 6 picks there, nobody had the same one, and then Chris had to go and ruin it with his number 1 pick. And I think, honestly, me and you might have the same number 1 pick here, Ryan.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I haven't taken this driver since Cedar Lake. And, he really hadn't impressed me all season. I took him up there thinking, he's on this good team. He's got a good teammate. Probably out there practicing every day with him. Turns out he's not doing that much practice. Puts his right rear in the wall at Cedar Lake. Takes himself out of 2nd place. But he made me a believer last week and made me eat my own words. I'm taking Ross Kaiser here, basically out of the fact that he made me eat my own words, and I want to see him continue to do well. I think, we saw it there at Eldora. He ripped the top very well, and I think this track is going to get up to the top, and Ross is just going to absolutely run away with it.
Okay. What do I got, guys?
I think you're going with me, and you're going with Ross because you want the points.
Number 1 pick. What do I got?
Tell you what, I expect Byron to jump on the bandwagon. I mean, he became a Steelers fan somehow. Okay, and it had to probably be because they were good back then. Because
it was because of my dad. It was because of my dad being a Browns fan.
I mean, you're a bandwagon. That's what I'm saying. So, hey, I see you jumping all over Ross Kaiser because he won last week. So whoever wins it tonight, Jason Randolph, after you win tonight, Byron will pick you next week. But Ryan, you've picked Ross Kaiser for a different reason.
All right, guys. I have not picked Ross Kaiser. I'm going to admit, I waited. I waited till your guys' picks came in. Because my goal in this week's picks, do not pick any driver that Byron picks. Do not pick any driver that Chris picks. I need points. I don't need to tie points. I need points. So I had to find, okay, who's going to be better than these guys? I believe Ross Kaiser's going to be fast. He's going to be ripping down the top of that cushion. Probably one of the best ones in the field to rip it down. But I imagine he'll rip it down and flip over that wall like he did at Cedar Lake and make the mistake. So I'm not picking Ross Kaiser here. My number 1 pick is going to the Australian Sean Stevens. Unbelievable that I'm putting him here in the number 1 spot. I know, but he came off his first top 5 of the season. And I do know, and I've seen him race here at I-55 in other things other than the 305s, and he's won in some really good competition. Will that transition into the 305s? We're about to find out. I'm hoping that Sean Stevens is the answer that I need to catch back up in these points. Get me 3 points, Sean Stevens. Go after it. Whew.
You're gonna start calling him that now. Sean the Answer Stevens.
Sean the Answer Stevens, especially if he gets it done. Sean the Answer Stevens. I love it. All right, guys.
I like the pick.
It's time to...
He just said in chat, he's got you.
He's got me. Let's see. All right, guys. That's all we've got. That's all the time we have here at Studio 8. The pre-race show, week 8. Thanks for watching. Really greatly appreciate that. Don't forget, get over to dirtitv.com. Check out the shop. Get you some merchandise. Go save on gas at Get Upside. Get the app. We will see you over at I-55 here in just a few minutes. It's time for Millertime Sunday. He's got the shirt on. Let's go racing.
To all the drivers and fans, thanks for watching the pre-race show right here live on Dirt ITV, the home of Millertime Motorsports. Become a supporter of Dirt ITV. It's easy. Simply go to paypal.com, PayPal me/Dirt ITV. Any donation is greatly appreciated. And now it's time for